Right, it says you're alive. Perfection. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If this is your first stream, welcome. If you guys are tuning back in, good to see you all this morning. New York market open about an hour ago. Had a basically what we had talked about yesterday on the live stream. The Sunday market outlook, the purpose of that stream that we do is to prepare everyone for the week. By the way, shout out to the 150 people that subscribed yesterday to get us away from that 666 subscribers count. It was making me very uncomfortable. I was about to start posting some shitty videos just so some people can unfollow us or something, just because that was making me uncomfortable. But luckily, we got a lot of support and about 150 people subbed overnight, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Okay, he said, I never knew where he speaks impacted his choice of words. It impacts all of us. You're speaking in front of your friends, you're going to be speaking one way. If you're speaking in front of the interview that you have for the biggest job of your life, you might tone it down, right? I might tone down some of the jokes. Be like, Roy, do you speak the exact same way on stream as you would in that interview? Unfortunately, no. And now that I'm a full-time trader, and now that I'm no longer employed, and now that I have had years where I am my own boss, then yeah, everywhere I go, I do try to be as consistent as possible in the way I speak and what I say and what I believe. But it's tough, right? I'm on a date the other day. I was trying to talk about what is it? What was it? Baroque architecture, right? I was like, oh shit, Baroque architect. This is the perfect, right? Know your audience, Christine. That was the shortest date ever. Okay, I was like, oh, there's gonna be a movie tonight's gonna be a movie, whatever. It was a trailer. Don't bring up Baroque architecture. No one cares what a buttress is. All right, so you got to know your audience. And I think Jay Powell is the king of knowing his audience. If he's speaking to the media, his number one priority is don't slip up. Don't say a single sentence, like a series of 5 to 7 words that could be clipped out of context, right? So he's very good about that. He reads out the book, and that's pretty straightforward. When he's speaking to economists, most economists get it. They know that there's no answers to this stuff. They know that we're in the toughest spot. It's like talking to doctors about this very rare disease. When you're talking to the media, they're like, this is just like COVID, right? When you're talking to other scientists, they understand that there's no certainties. They understand risks and probability and stuff. So you can have a real conversation there. When you're talking to the media, the number one role is don't slip up. Don't say a word like guaranteed you won't get sick. Don't say a word like whatever. So you have to kind of walk on eggshells so as to not panic the markets. That's his number one priority. When he's around economists, he's chill. And when he's around the financial industry, that's when I think we get the best Jay Powell.
Right. But it's sometimes where, like you said, he acts, all nice and fake, and we get a nice push up. But when he tells the truth, that's when we get that big candle, and that's when you have to be more on guard. So I couldn't decipher and understand, okay, why does today he have attitude and why other days he's nice? So
You
now
want to
I
know
know
what
to
it
be
is?
more on guard.
Christine, his mood is 100 because what he says is different than his mood. Because sometimes he's in a bad mood on that podium, sometimes in a good mood. It depends on the obviously he's a human. So let's say like he was beefing with his wife before he stepped on. There's all that stuff that we're not paying attention to. But now if we're going to talk about what happened economically that could be impacting his mood, there's always a data release before he speaks. Usually it's NFP or not NFP. Usually it's a CPI print. There's a GDP print that comes out the week before. And so if it's a good print, he's up there smiling. He's like, yeah, they're going to bring up these questions and I'm going to have it for him. But when it's a bad number, he knows they're going to be asking, so Jerome Powell, we just had a horrible print and we're moving backwards now. We're going to be fucked. What do we do? And he's kind of preparing for those questions. And so that's kind of how the mood that you can read. Realistically, it used to matter more. Like people used to watch the color of tie that he would wear. People would watch how he was standing on the podium. All that went away after COVID. Him reading out the
Mm,
beige book, or him reading out of his notebook became the standard because he couldn't afford to fuck up and crash the markets.
gotcha.
Yeah, if you watch his stuff in like 2018, he was speaking off the cuff. But in case you guys don't know the history, in 2018 we were dealing with the first like signs of this inflation crisis from all the money we printed. And Powell was like, whoa, 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 this is going to end up being really, really bad. We got to get on top of this. We got to start raising interest rates. And the market was like, okay, yeah, raise interest rates, sure. He raised them. Markets crashed in 2018. And he was like, don't care. We're going to fight this inflation crisis. I'm going to do it again. And the market didn't believe him. And he raised rates again and the market crashed again. And then that's when he was like, okay, I'm going to relax because if I keep raising rates, I'm going to send us into a recession. And we were pretty damn close to a recession 2019. So
Mm-hmm.
we were kind of powering through it. And then fucking COVID happened. They had to drop rates to zero. We had to print $7 trillion, and all the progress he had made completely went out the window. And ever since then, we've had a completely different culture at the Fed where they don't speak from the top of their head. They only ever read from the books. They don't have dissenting opinions in public, right? So like when the Fed chairman get around the table to discuss the rates, everybody agrees finally on the one decision, but then they write dissenting opinions in the what is it called? In the meeting notes that come out a few weeks later. Now they do very little media where the other Fed presidents or the other FOMC chair members are disagreeing with Powell because that was causing a lot of market mess too. So you see how like they're cleaning it up
Mm-hmm.
because the
Mm-hmm.
market's overreacting. They're getting smart.
But let me ask you this, when he's honest, that's when I feel like we have more insight and we can prepare more. When he's coddling us and just giving, good answers, I feel like that's what's kind of hurting the market and like you said, pushing it up. So what do you think is going to cause this soft landing when he finally has to tell the truth, right? I mean, this hard landing, excuse me, hard crash.
No, no, because the thing is, he has been telling the truth, but then he'll just change one thing. Okay,
Yeah.
because it's a hopeful thing. Like right now, if we keep going on the path that we're going, we are in a soft landing. It's just going to take way longer than people think. Because inflation, the print came out at 3% the other day. All right. Now, 3% is still pretty far from the number we got to get to, but there's like something psychologically that happens. Once you see a 2.9 or something, once that two number is there for the inflation, everyone's going to get excited again, like we made it out. So on that front, he did bring down inflation without causing a big recession. And that's the soft landing. And that's a miracle, honestly. He's going to be gone in 4 months, Christine. He is going to have his in the history books is going to say fucking legend because he orchestrated the soft landing. Are we going to have a crash right after the election? Probably.
Got you. That's what I'm looking for. And it's
Now,
going to be the new guy's fault, technically.
exactly. And that's why Jerome Powell's playing it off. He's like, everything's cool, everything's fine. As soon as he hands that baton over, it's like, yeah, they handed me this bullshit, and I'm gonna hand you this bullshit because they did hand Jerome Powell a pretty tough job too. So, um, when you were talking about what's going to make the market crash, like a real crash, I don't think we're ever going to have a real unwind. I think that the Fed has created so much distortion in how markets work by printing money and creating a floor that I don't think we'll ever get that final release again. Because in '08, we were supposed to get that big release where the banks were supposed to some banks go out of business because they were literally just being shady and don't deserve to be in business. But because of this artificial like safety net that the Fed and the Treasury have created around some of these too big to fail companies, I don't think we'll ever have this day of reckoning where all the shitty decisions that they've been making kind of come home to roost. I think we will continue to print our way out of this until the wheels fall off. And that's why I think that currency collapse at some point is inevitable. But every currency I think will collapse before the dollar does. So that we are on an unsustainable path, people. We have about 7 years. Put a one in the chat if you guys have heard or read The Fourth Turning by Lewis Howes. If you haven't read that book, you have to read it. This is non-negotiable. It's mandatory to read the book, whether you believe the information or not. The cycles that are explained in that book show us where we are right now. And the first 4 out of the 5 predictions have come true between COVID, Iraq War, populist revolution with Trump, et cetera, et cetera. The last one is civil war. And the conditions that are described in that book are very present. And we dodged the conditions 2 days ago. Because if Trump had got hit, that fourth turning book would have became, we would have lived it as soon as possible. So non-negotiable, you got to read it. But in that book, you know, Meal says the milkshake theory. Jamil, you just made my day. What I'm describing here with the currency collapse scenario, but the dollar being the dominant currency, and then eating up all the liquidity from the other currencies, is called the dollar milkshake theory. Good friend of ours, Brent Johnson, invented that theory. And yo, what do you guys think about Big Brent Johnson speaking at the summit about the dollar milkshake theory? Yo, anybody on the team, bro, mark that down. That's the first order of business after this. Call Brent, get him to the summit. Oh, that's gonna be so good. You know what if we got whole a debate with Brent Johnson and Peter Schiff? Peter Schiff, pro gold, thinks the dollar is gonna because there's two ways that the game ends. The dollar gets so devalued it just keeps crashing, or it gets so overvalued compared to other currencies that it goes up. So we're either gonna die in hellfire or in an ice, in the frost. And there's everybody's on two different camps of this. And then you have like actually there's three camps. You have morons. Morons are like in the middle. We're like, oh, nothing's gonna happen to currencies, right? They're sitting right there. On the extremes, I think Peter Schiff would represent gold being the dominant currency, being the dominant global currency, and the dollar basically becoming irrelevant. And then Brent is on the other side. I'm on his team, where all the other currencies go to zero, but the dollar goes to infinity. So I think having that debate might be the most exciting thing I can think of for the summit, but that's because I'm a nerd. Trump said, I hope the market doesn't crash when I become president. That means he's mentally preparing you for the market to crash when he becomes president, right? Guys, some things are inevitable. Like if I was an institutional player, I would definitely sell off before the elections so I could kind of read the room and then reallocate that money at better prices and at better with better assets. Trump is going to lift regulation on so many different industries. You might think that, oh, we have 20% invested in agriculture right now because nothing else is moving. But as soon as Trump, let's say he releases or he reduces regulation on crypto, I would much rather take my money out of the agricultural companies if I'm an investor and put it into some of these crypto development companies because now that's available. All right. So I think that we are likely to see that sell off prior to the elections or around the elections and just the way the game goes. Revalue gold to 27K, make a universal currency, not a standard currency. No country will ever trust another country to run the world financially. That's true, Camille, but okay, this is going to be the most arrogant statement I've ever said, but I do love America. America is the most benevolent holder of the torch that we've ever had. So I did a whole course on the history of the currencies and kind of how to trade fundamentals, etc. The first two chapters were the history of the currency regimes. So you go, England had the torch, and then Portugal had the torch, and Spain had the torch, and then the Dutch had the torch. And it's about 80 to 100 years where each country gets to dominate the global world as the world superpower. And by proxy, you have the global reserve currency. Now, everyone thinks that military is how you determine who has the global currency. It's actually Navy. The strongest naval powers get to control the world's currency. America still has the world's strongest Navy, so we get to defend the dollar for another 20 years. Most of these currency regimes are 80 to 100 years old. Right now, we're on year 120 or something of the dollar, if I'm not mistaken. Let me think about this. We had the Federal Reserve System in 1913. That puts us at about 112 years. Yeah, we're long overdue. We are way past the cycle. And it doesn't look like this cycle is going to end. I know Ray Dalio says we're at the end of the super cycle. We are, but that doesn't mean we have to reset. We can keep this fucking show rolling. The cycle was supposed to end, and then we had the dot-com boom and the dot-com crash, and that created another potential century of American innovation. Okay, because we had the American Industrial Revolution that basically earned us that 100 years of dominance. That's why we won World War I, World War II. We had the capacity for it. We had the industrial capacity, manufacturing capacity, etc. Now let's fast forward. They were like, okay, it's the end of the 100 years. The 70s were kind of a big bump in the road for America. The 80s and 90s were like the useless generation, where like, you guys know, like everybody who's a parent now, who was like a parent in the 80s and 90s who grew up there, they kind of suck, right? Don't really care about too much, not taking it too serious. If you compare Gen Z and millennials, they take everything serious, right? The inflation is happening, the crisis is happening. There's like government overreach. Like all this stuff is a much bigger deal for younger generations than that middle generation. Boomers care about stuff. Baby boomers care about Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and family values and all this stuff. Family values were all-time low in the 80s, 90s. Well, all that aside. So then we have the dot-com boom, and China and the rest of the world celebrates because they're like, finally, we get to take back over. Yeah, you fucking thought. because then we had Google, Microsoft, what is it called? And Apple really dominate the world stage. And then 2008, we had the iPhone come out. We had the social medias, Netflix, Tesla, all the largest companies in the world. And since then, we've literally been raw dogging the rest of the world's economies. That happened. So now the rest of the world is like, okay, we're slowing down. They've kind of hit the terminal speed, those terminal size for Google and all these other companies. You can't get bigger than $1 trillion. Yeah, tell that to Apple, who's at 2 trillion. Like a couple of years ago, like 5 years ago, the whole market cap of the index was $1 trillion. And now you have one company that basically became a trillionaire in 5 months. I'm talking about Nvidia. And so you basically are the size of the entire index from 5 years ago. And you did that in 5 months. This is a fucked up game that we're playing, people. We are not in the same fucking league. We went from playing mini golf, and now I'm Bryce DeChambeau. Okay. So how does this end? Well, the rest of the world is celebrating again. We had the big boom, and COVID kind of slowed things down. They're like, oh, we're about to take over America. America's weak. The president can't say a sentence. We're going to take Taiwan. Right? Cute, right? It's adorable. The AI revolution comes around, and we reset the clock all over again. We buy ourselves another 20 years. And then now, instead of just like a little bit of a gap between us and the rest of the world, because technology creates a gap of productivity, AI is 1,000x productivity. It's not human. It doesn't have to follow human laws. We're going to be so far ahead of the game that it's going to create wars because of the disparity between wealth, right? It's like the difference between Bezos and the local shop. Everybody got hit during COVID because prices went up, but Bezos gained a 200 billion in his net worth. That makes people very unhappy, right? And that's what's going to happen. So AI revolution soon come, big progress for America. Do we have to survive the next 4 or 5 years without a civil war so that we can get there? Yes. So don't be a dickhead. If you're American, stop being a pussy. All right. We got to fucking make it through this little period of 4 or 5 years. And then we literally dominate the world stage again. So don't fuck this up. Good morning. Let's all have a prosperous week. Right back at you, Pops. W Ray in the chat. My dad just walked in with the positive vibes. That's what I'm talking about. Baz, I hope you're doing good. Everybody else, I don't give a all right, no, jokes. Any questions, comments, concerns? What are we doing right now? How are we looking?
Please say the name of the book one more time.
The Fourth Turning. It's become one of the most famous books. It's an American prophecy. Now, here's the funny thing. It's not even funny. This is really sad, but people don't like George Soros because he's like the classic movie villain who wants to take over the world, etc. And if you're Thai or if you're British, you definitely don't like him. If you're Hungarian or Austrian, you definitely don't like him because he basically ransacked those countries for everything they have and bankrupted Thailand and bankrupted the Bank of England. First off, bankrupting the Bank of England, kind of a flex. Thailand, also, if you read the full story, it makes it seem like he's the devil for crashing the Thai baht. But there was so much corruption in that country, and he was with the leaders, and he tried to beg them. He's like, if you don't fix these corruption problems and these 4 issues, I can't keep my money here. And the effect of like a billionaire moving his money out of a country is like everybody else does too. What's it called? Elon moving his moving his company's registrations from Delaware. Delaware is one of the most popular places in America to register billion-dollar companies because they had the most straightforward laws, and the Delaware Corporation was one of the most like best kept secrets in wealth. Then they started fucking with Elon for political reasons, and then all that money started to dip out. Elon left California, and guess who followed? Now they all went to Texas. Texas is eating. That is real. All right, so hold on. Right here. Is W Ray. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So there was also when I went to college, the dominant economic theory was the efficient market hypothesis. Now, when I'm bringing up George Soros, is because he developed one of the smartest ideas in markets, and this is kind of what was the shift for me. It was the theory of reflexivity. It's that markets, here's the efficient market hypothesis in 10 seconds. Markets follow the very basics of supply and demand. So the efficient market hypothesis is that you have a supply and demand curve, and that if supply is higher than demand, prices go down. And if demand is higher than supply, prices go up, right? And that whenever there's too much supply, like let's say you have too many lemons at the store, what they do is they lower the prices and then demand comes back up, and it'll always reach what is called the efficient market, this efficient market point, this efficient market range. So it's always going to rebalance. Now we all fucking know there's no such thing as an efficient market of supply demand. Dogecoin is the best example. You can manufacture supply through hype. That's not an efficient market at all, where billions of dollars flow to a meme coin that doesn't have utility, and then there's billions and trillions of dollars of losses, debt, and assets that should be getting value that don't get value. That supply and demand function is not efficient. The theory of reflexivity says that we self-fulfill all these things. So instead of because supply and demand curves are always going to go back to the efficiency, that's why we have recessions. No, if we're scared of a recession, and Bloomberg keeps saying it, we stop spending. If we stop spending, stores go out of business or they lose money, so they have to fire some employees, lay people off. If you lay a bunch of people off, those people can't spend money anymore. So stores continue to go broke and more broke. And then that cycle keeps going until we're in a recession. So you cause a recession by being scared of a recession. You get me? That's the reflexive nature. There is no efficiency there. It's a reflexive, self-fulfilling prophecy. Everything in markets is a reflexive, self-fulfilling cycle. So the fourth turning was self-fulfilling because so many smart people in politics, business, foreign policy, finance, central banking, law, because everyone read this book, and the fear of this book was there, I think they self-fulfilled this prophecy piece by piece. Ain't that crazy? So it's like, wow, how is this shit so accurate? It's like, maybe we made it fucking accurate. We made it happen. I don't know. So yeah, if you're getting a college degree in economics, I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Should have taken the fundamentals course instead. If anyone here has taken the fundamentals course and an economics 4-year degree, on God himself, please tell the truth. Which one was worth more money? Was it George Soros of JP Morgan that created the panic bank of the days to buy off all the banks cheap? No, George Soros has nothing to do with JP Morgan. So the Bank of Morgan, I mean, they all do this, where they basically go out there and shit talk a bunch of assets so they can buy them for the low. Soros was not like that. Soros had so much money in these banks that he knew if he took the money out of Thailand, he would bankrupt the Thai baht because all the other billionaires would follow. And so he wasn't necessarily trying to do it either, because crashing the central bank, all the people are done. It's not the politicians. But when you're talking to a corrupt government and you keep begging them to stop fucking around so that you don't have to do something stupid, and they just continue to try to scheme you now, and now they're trying to fuck you over, and now they're telling you to go fuck yourself, you're pulling your money out. And he did this to the Bank of England as well. He shorted the Bank of England because he saw the play, talked to the central bankers and told them, yo, you have to fix this issue, or otherwise I have to take my money out. I'm not going to sit here like a sitting duck. And they just refused to talk to the smartest, most influential person at the time who had the most money in their bank. And so he was like, all right, shorted the bank of, shorted the, what's it called? Fuck, dude. He shorted the pound and created a crisis in the Bank of England, which they had coming. Not going to lie. Big reason for a lot of issues. I'm not even going to get into this. There's one way to get canceled is to talk about the cause of World War II, the banking cartels, and how some countries were basically fed up with the banking cartels ransacking their countries, but they turned it on a population group, as opposed to the banking cartel that was doing this in Germany and in England and in America and the House of Morgans, etc. So that's a story for another time. But if you guys are interested, you can always look up the Rothschild banking conglomerate and cartel, how they're the seed money for all the banks in the world. So the House of Morgan was basically all the money there was debt. It was an IOU to the Rothschild banking family. And so the House of Morgan and the Bank of Morgan created the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was funded by the top 6 or 7 banks, primarily JP Morgan. And so the money that the JP Morgan had was all IOU to the Rothschilds. So the Federal Reserve money was all an IOU to the Rothschilds, and they run our shit. It's it's fucked up. Didn't the Rothschilds create the school system as well? Kind of, but it was actually an influence of the Industrial Revolution. And so the conveyor belt model of Henry Ford, where you have like 100 people in a conveyor belt line, and it's an assembly method where it's like everybody just puts in one screw and move it to the next, one screw, move it to the next, move one screw. The school system was actually based off that. What is the most efficient way to graduate mass populations of people who are uneducated? And so there was the child labor laws that came first in the Industrial Revolution. So get the kids out the factories, 6 or 7 year olds hand getting caught in like the machine and they're getting swept in there. Like we got to stop that. That was step one. But then you got to have something for the kids to do, and you have to legally mandate them to be in school. Otherwise, your kid's going to work because you got a family of 12 people. Everyone's broke. Your kid's 8 now. He can hold a fucking screwdriver. Boom, put him in the factory. And so they had to kind of get through that first. And so the model was really built around the efficiency, and that's why it's like a giant prison system. It does not produce competent adults, doesn't produce people who are interested in learning. It doesn't produce people who are competent enough to be self-sufficient. Because God forbid you have a population of people that can think for themselves, Mike. You're done, right? A bunch of military age young men and women that can actually, think rationally for themselves. You're fucked. Why do you think that the adults have so much? I'll say adults as if we're not fucking fully, but I'm saying like, let's say baby boomer generations and them are struggling so much with us. We're just calling them out on all the bullshit. We're like, yo, why the fuck is this built this way? They're like, no, don't look at that. I'm like, bro, I ain't 7 anymore, bro. I can see this shit. It's right there. And that's why I feel like I actually have a lot of hope in our generation, even though everyone's saying that we're a bunch of social media, like we're like fried with the phones and shit. I don't think so, bro. I think we got 2020 vision. I think we're looking around at all the systems being built. Like this is the most retarded shit I've ever seen. You people are so fucking stupid. Building the financial system the way they have, bro, with all of these duct tape fixes that are now falling apart at the seams, and never taking a second to step back and be like, all right, let's actually fix the engine now. It's like, but at some point you got to fix it. And now they're just going to hand it to us. And so I'm actually very confident in the future. I do think that the future looks good, but we do have to make it past these 4 to 5 years without a civil war. Cool. All right, guys. So let me hit the receipts real quick. Yesterday we were on this live stream as. Wait, am I watching the live stream of the live stream watching the live stream? Oh, this is the wrong one. This is the right one. Yeah, this is me streaming the stream with us talking about me streaming the stream. This is the actual stream from yesterday. We had 3 different scenarios. The one that's playing out right now was the break above the support level, a closure back inside the range, and then a push back to the top. So this is kind of the one that we had, except we didn't really have the liquidity grab back inside the range. As you guys can see, now we're just strictly pushing back to the top. And then we have Jerome Powell speaking here in about an hour. And so let's see if we can get a pull back down to the range. Even though they haven't put it up on the calendar, we'll probably be able to find it on the Economic Club of Washington website. Mike, I hope you got headphones on, brother. Give me a thumbs up if you do. You got headphones on? Okay, bro. I used to be at work saying every time boss walk in, I'm here flipping the screen and shit. I'm here changing the screen in the middle of a trade. I'm in the bathroom with no service. Like, fuck. The one place in the whole office that don't have service is the bathroom. So I'm sitting there trying to check my trades and shit. Trust me, I feel you, bro. Stay strong. Oh man, I live for this. There's nothing like the rush of trying to trade at work and your boss walking right behind you and having to flip the screen right as it hits your entry zone. And all you're hearing is the alerts going off. And your boss is like, oh, what about that report from last week, bro? Fuck the report from last week. That's really why I had to quit. I was missing thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. I'd be in a trade, close it at $700, come back and check that it went for 4 to 1. And so I'm realizing that's like $2,800. Now, guy, I wasn't making that much money at the bank on a daily basis. Like, unless like my bonuses at the end of the year is where I made my real money. But when I tell you guys for $200 in a day, where all my clients are calling me on a red day saying, why is my portfolio down $70,000? I'm like, well, ma'am, you have $1 million in there, right? And you're down 0.7%. And so you're going to be okay, right? And I have to do that shit for like $300 in a day or whatever the fuck I was getting paid. And I just missed out on $3 grand. I had to leave my job at some point. At some point, it was like too much money being missed. So yeah. So that was an incredible breakdown of what? Oh, the Rothschild banking system. Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna get kidnapped after this. Yo, I would never kill myself ever. All right. I'm literally throwing that out there. The level 7 Inception, we never getting out. Live stream Inception. Yeah, we're stuck here forever, boys. Go ahead and grab a snack. Grab those portable the porta potties. Grab a portable joint that the gamers use, and go ahead and accept it. We're in the episode of the Twilight Zone. You guys are too young for Twilight Zone. We're in an episode of the Black Mirror. Said sell side liquidity taken. Did FDL disappear forever? FDL, come back, man. I'm sorry I said you watch too much ICT videos. I'm not gonna say I didn't mean it, because I kind of did, but I didn't mean it in a way that would make you upset, man. Come back. Okay, we've got a pretty good amount of viewers on the stream today. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting the like button so that the algorithm stops hiding our stream. Clearly, I'm saying salacious stuff all the time. Clearly, a couple of F-bombs are gonna fly. And so the algorithm seems to have a little bit of an issue with us. Saying, Roy, I know you're literally hilarious, as we can see by every metric that we can track, but we're still gonna try and suppress this video. I don't know how that works, right? Because the algorithm is supposed to be built for one thing. If humans like it, then keep pumping it out. And obviously, these streams are educational, informative, and entertaining at the same time. And so, yes, we can have some fun and joke around, but you're not going to walk off the stream feeling like, damn, I just wasted an hour. Like if you watched a comedy special, whatever, it's like, we got the laughs, but we just learned, you will have probably learned more in the past 45 minutes about the banking system and about markets and about how they work than you probably have in the past 6 months combined. Right. So I hope you guys do feel that sense of value from these streams, because my number one priority is there's something called like regret minimization. And Elon touched on this, which is there's a metric they track, which is how shitty do you feel about yourself when you get off the app, about your time on that app. All right. So like the worst score is something like, let's say porn, right? You get off the app, the score is a 10 for you feel shitty about yourself. Bobby, chill, bro. Let me stay funny, right? And then there's like the prayer app. You finish the prayer app, you do the whole thing, and now you feel 10 out of 10, or whatever the scoring system is, you feel great about your time spent on that app, right? And so when you're on this stream, I kind of want to go through that same score, which is when you get off, how good do you feel about yourself, about the thing, like how much you've learned, the progress you've made in your understanding of either markets, of global economy, macroeconomics, etc. And if you were entertained as well and you got a good feeling from it, then also it's going to add to that, damn, this is a good use of my time because I'm investing my time instead of spending it. So out of 0 to 10, what score would you guys give this stream? In terms of like, you feel like you get value from it. When you get off, you feel like you genuinely did something valuable for your life and your progress.
1,000.
Christine, thank you. And I appreciate you. Which episode of Black Mirror? Because every episode is happening, even in the gaming episode. Every episode is happening right now, Chris. We're in the middle of it. Wait, but I love the Twilight Zone. That means that you're a man and or woman of culture. He said, F the algo. Whoa. Meals, you trying to get me, you're trying to get the algo to start hating on the boy. No, I love YouTube. YouTube is greatest company ever, right? No, don't get me fucked up. Rate cut expectations and China's missed GDP. China's missed GDP rate. Stop fucking trolling me, bro. Imagine we're out here looking at the Chinese data numbers. Stop messing around, dude. Because he said, let me ask North Korea about their standard of living. Be like, everything here is great. Okay, nothing to see here. Don't ask any questions. Okay, all right, sure thing. Yeah, China has a 0% unemployment rate with a country of 1.3 billion people. That's not suspicious at all, right? Not at all. Right? They don't have a housing crisis, a materials crisis. They built too many homes, right? They didn't have their largest real estate developer basically have a 2008 moment a few years ago with Evergrande. Let me tell you guys right now, I used to be scared, not scared, but I used to be scared of the Chinese sort of like takeover. The more you look at demographics, the more you'll start to realize that it ain't happening. Food, water, energy, and security. That's what you need to be the world's superpower. Okay, food, water, energy, enough for your population. So America has a population of 300 million, and we have the same resources as China. They have 1.3 billion people. Okay, food, water, energy is a problem. Same as jobs. Having jobs for 278 Civilian, non-institutional, able and willing people in America? Possible, as we can see now with basically 97% of the country has a job. Let's talk about security. America has two geographically natural borders with the Atlantic and the Atlantic and Pacific. We gonna see you coming. We have two friendly neighbors with Canada and Mexico. So we're in a pretty good fucking spot. Let's look at China. Hostile neighbors left and right. You got North Korea every day doing military operations. Japan, pretty friendly neighbor, but don't get them twisted. They got hella support around the world. They have a lot of economic pull, and they're friends with the European nations and America. They're not out here trying to alienate themselves. You don't exactly have the nicest neighbors over there. Constant problems on both sides of the borders. So, yeah. This is top podcast in the world. The value here is priceless. I get, bro. Sometimes I even shock myself that I'm doing this shit for free. It blows my mind. So yeah, China, monopoly money, that currency ain't nothing. The numbers, you can't trust them because in order to trust you can trust the numbers, but in order to do that, you have to believe that they have less than a 2% unemployment rate in a country that has 1.3 billion people and 25 years ago was under the global poverty level. Okay. If you can get through that mental hurdle, then yeah, go ahead, believe the numbers. Okay, so everyone says 10 out of 10. Amanda, I appreciate it. Camille, AB, Mike, C4, Maurice, Carlos, Kai, Two Step, Greg, Manny. Good looks, guys. Come on, Roy. They're the second biggest economy in terms of size. Yes, brother. I don't know how to explain this. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. You ever heard that phrase? Now, don't get me wrong. The Chinese are extremely dangerous as an opponent. Not in terms of like just like straight up like danger in terms of they're absolutely competent as a country and as a unit to be able to do this. But dude, demographics don't lie, man. You have the one-child policy got them fucked up, right? Because now you have the advancement in medical technologies will over time improve the how long people are the life expectancy in China. So you're going to have this aging population that can no longer work and needs to be taken care of. So you better have enough young people to run that system, to plug into the machine, to basically take care of those old people and keep the show on the road. Now, when you have a one-child policy where people are only having one kid for every two, all right? You have two parents that you got to get taken care of, but only one child. Do you guys see that demographic issue over 30 years? And so you can have a giant economy, a big factory. If you don't have the people to run the factory, then what's the point? It's going to cost you money every month to keep the lights on. India is the one that no one's paying attention to because they have the opposite problem. The elderly population, life expectancy ain't too hot over there. Shit's fucked up, right? And then the younger populations, they have too many young people. And so the age of the Indian middle class is coming. And over the next 30 years, they will be the single most influential economy in that region. And let me tell you guys, if you want to get stupid rich beyond your wildest imaginations and you have no idea what to do and you have nothing going on in that head of yours, sell something to the Indians. You understand? Because the thriving middle class means development. It means infrastructure. It means outsourcing. It means everything. Right? Find out what that country needs. Let's start working together. And India understands that. That's why they're so closed off. They won't allow the Indian people, the government won't allow the Indian people to trade currencies or to trade markets outside of India because they don't want that money to leave, which is smart because they do have to incubate all that money in order to kickstart their system. That's what China did. Once that gets going, y'all, it's game over. How many services do we use that come from the Indian subcontinent that are outsourcing skills? So they have skills because the education there is incredible. They outsource it. They get dollars, paid in dollars, and they bring those dollars into the country, further strengthening their local currency. So that's the one that nobody's paying attention to. Oh, yeah, did I mention they're a nuclear power? That part. Bro, did that make sense? Did the year of the Indian century make sense? Or not the year. Did the Indian century make sense? Because I feel like some people are going to be like, I don't know about that. But I feel like I made some pretty good points here. I already have a plan to make money from trading and use it to run up a business in India. Um, you don't have to have money to start a business, people. I know that's like counterintuitive. You got to solve a problem. When you're broke, like when I needed to fund, how do I say this? Like Chart Addicts is the best example. How am I going to be able to fund a big trading account by not having money? Now you can continue to high risk your accounts and then sort of, play that high risk game. Because if you're going to do it responsibly, it's going to take so much time. So you have to provide a service. Like I know how to trade. I'm crushing it. I am extremely skilled at looking at somebody else's performance and giving them guidance that they need. So why don't I sell a service that doesn't really require money? It requires a skill set. Like if I can get you to make 5 grand in a month, or I can stop you from losing 5 grand in a month, that's such a valuable service that should be worth 5 grand. You understand? And so you have to find something that is that valuable to people, and then you can sell it and you can make money. And then you can take that money and invest in yourself in trading and really, really take it to the next level. Y'all get me? Because that's why a lot of people hate on traders that have a trading business. It depends on what you're doing. If you're using a trading business to avoid actually having to trade, then yeah, you're fucking lost in the sauce. But if you're like in the 1 or 3% of us that are using a service or a skill that you have in order to build a business, in order to invest in trading, like let's go start a hedge fund with this and take the same strategy and then run it through the hedge fund and everyone can invest in it. That sounds like the best way to put the money to use. So whatever you're going to sell to India, look at a service you can provide them. Put yourself in the middle of everyone's got a problem, bro. You're not going to get rich in the gold rush by digging for gold. But you sure as fuck can sell shovels, right? Because the people that are going to find gold and the people that aren't going to find gold, both still going to buy a shovel. And they're going to buy another one when it breaks. You understand what I'm saying? Shoe shining for your horse. Because while you're going there, your whole shit's dirty. It's like off-roading. You start a car wash, right? It's like you're starting the shoe shining for the horses. That's what you got to do. Be creative and find an idea that provides value to as many people and solves a painful problem. The richer the audience that you're solving the problem for, the more money you make. And the bigger the problem that you're solving, the more money you make. If you're not making money now, people, because you are not providing enough value to the marketplace, even though you think you are. Okay. India, China, and Russia all putting together will be a powerful economic force. Yeah, the three struggles, right? It's like the three guys, it's like the three struggling ops just all teaming together. What did Drake say? I know we can't quote Drake anymore, but what's his name? Who's the ghostwriter? Fucking Quentin Miller wrote this, so I guess we can credit Quentin Miller for this one. He said something about like, y'all think y'all really teaming up and scared us. Y'all boys is hilarious. Y'all stay at the Sheridan. All that shit's embarrassing. All right, so that's kind of how I feel about the BRICS alliance. So y'all think y'all really teaming up and scaring us, right? So y'all boys is embarrassing. Y'all stay at the Sheridan. So yeah, I mean, it's dope, right? It's dope and it is scary. But here's the truth about America, yo. America don't move until you wake up the beast. And everyone just saw this with Trump. You're getting all the CNNs and all the people that pretended to hate Trump. Dude, they're showing their true colors. They love him. They love Trump. They're like trying to be professional. They're trying to be like, yeah, we don't really care if Trump almost got shot. But they're like, you could tell on their face they are so happy and relieved that nothing happened to him. They're like, yeah, the president, the former president, they're slipping, man. Right. So I think that I think 2001, 9/11 was that example. America's asleep at the wheel for 2 decades. I told you, the 80s and 90s, the most useless generations. And I love you guys. And I was born in 96. So, we're all in this together. All right. But they were not fixing shit. They were not moving the ball forward. Everyone was just on it was the drugs, the music, the rock and roll, like it's all good. Parents are way more relaxed. Yeah, you guys can just go out and do whatever you want. The participation trophy parent, like the whole shit is fucked up. Oh, 9/11 happens and we damn near destabilized the entire Middle East, spent trillions of dollars, fucked up the whole world, and we went to the wrong fucking country. We didn't even catch the guy who did it. Obama had to get him like 90 years later. We didn't even catch the guy. We fucked up. We burned down every country that had nothing to do with it. Okay, so then when these countries are thinking about, going head to head with America, China might decide to go head to head with us, and then all of a sudden we wipe out Korea, and now Korea hates China. Now they're beefing. Like fuck y'all. That's how crazy America is. That's why you will never beat America going head first. That's why they're doing all this sly shit, like buying up American farmland strategically near military bases. The Confucius Institutes here, which are not subject to American law somehow, but they only teach Chinese values. You have sleeper cells inside of America, inside some of the large, migrant populations, and then you have over 1 million military-aged Chinese immigrant men without families with military haircuts coming in across the border in the past year alone. So like that's the game they play, right? And then the propaganda campaigns. Oh, black people, you remember you hate white people? Oh, let's start that one again. Oh, men and women, you shouldn't be getting along, remember? Whenever you're about to start seeing the game for what it is, they'll hit you with the men, women, start hating each other. Yeah, men ain't shit, women ain't shit. Oh, black people, white people, remember you hate each other. Let's start this thing up. Remember what happened 85 years ago? Let's bring that back up, right? That's how they play their games, because you can only destroy America from the inside by having it destroy itself through civil dispute. And they know this. So yeah, if they were to do military operations in South China Sea, our Navy would go head to head and we would put up a serious fucking fight, and nobody wants that. Same with Russia. That's why we fight all of our wars through proxy. Russia knows better than to attack America. So we're going to do all this through proxy. Iran won't hit America, but they'll hit Israel, but they'll hit cargo containers in the Red Sea through the Houthis. Everything is through proxy. Yes, you definitely don't want to go against the big dog. That's just the truth. Otherwise, BRICS would have taken back over. Otherwise, the rest of the world would stop using the dollar. It does not work that way. So you can't have everything, Drake. You have a trade open right now? Unfortunately, no, I don't. It's going to be space government G7 versus BRICS 2050. Bro, Camille, I'm starting to like you, man. You kind of came on here a little, you know what I'm saying? You had strike one and strike two. You said a couple sus things. Quickly have come in with, because it's these crazy takes that everyone's like, all right, space government, G7 versus the BRICS in 2050. If you really play that out, are the G7 advanced enough to actually have the Space Force up and running sooner than everyone? Yeah. Especially in fucking 43 years, whatever the fuck this number is. And then can you expect the BRICS countries, because they're communists, so they're not gonna advance as fast because they don't believe in innovation and stuff. Like, are they still gonna be here on Earth? Like, you know what I'm saying? Trying to play this physical game, fighting over like real land and stuff, versus the G7, who's probably gonna be having the International Space Station on the moon, kind of connecting between different space agencies. Yeah, I can easily see that in 40 years. Like, that's not even a question. So that's crazy. Am I expecting a trade today? Unfortunately, not, yo. We're gonna hit this zone right here. Members, you guys know which zone this is. I think we're right there. Straight to the top, I guess. Yeah, I think we're gonna go bing. Bing. Yeah, I think we hit the 2650 zone and then end up having a retracement. So before the retracement happens, there's not much we can do. I talked about this on the stream yesterday, which is why I keep having this pulled up. Oh, again, this is the inception stream. Go through yesterday's stream. Okay, we had those three scenarios that we were describing. Okay, we were talking about this yesterday. So the market breaking back above that support. And then this is what I wanted to wait for. I wanted to wait for a dip back down for a retest. We never really got that today, which is fine. Okay, we talked about this move, which is, look at the target that we had from yesterday, 20,659. Same target for today, 20,659. So if you guys show up to the streams, all you got to do is write those numbers down. So same target for today, then we can get a retracement from there. Let me see if I actually put up a potential retracement idea here, if that does happen. No, I don't think I planned that far ahead. That's too much guesswork. Way too much guesswork. All right, so continuation model for CA members, you guys know what I'm about to say here. So if we're lucky enough to get a correction, we're just going to buy at the same exact entry price as this morning. It never gets easier than that. If we have a break of the highs, so new bullish range created, then we wait for a break back under that target zone for the next entry. All right, so I'm about to hop off. Jerome Powell is going to be speaking in 45 minutes. I'm going to watch it for about 5 minutes to see if it's going to be even worth getting on. And if it is, I'll send out a link. If it's not, then just we're good. Is it true it said the only place where all countries are allies is in Antarctica? No, and in space, technically. There's an international space treaty and all this bullshit, but we're not allies anywhere, but it's all fun and games until you're not friends, you know? So people respect the laws of war here, which is kind of crazy. Like that we have rules for war and like countries actually, well, they ain't following them. Let's be real. So I don't know. Are people going to follow the treaties in the space? I don't know, dude. I even heard their ultimate goal is to mine asteroids. That's the dumbest shit ever, right? Because clearly there's a money play there. But by the time we get to mining asteroids, we'll already have a multiplanetary species or a like galactic species where we're sort of like we have international space stations kind of roaming, and you can go up there sending resources back to America, whatever. The people that are like, oh, we're gonna go up there and make a shit ton of money, that's about as retarded as we can be as a species. Elon's saying that humans inevitably will we're gonna basically kill ourselves off because we're that stupid. And it's like if we don't have an exit plan to protect consciousness, which is the rarest thing in the universe, this like thing where we are all aware that we're living a life, that we're all consciously aware of our own existence, and that you experiencing yourself, experiencing life, the universe experiencing itself in real time, that is the most underappreciated thing in the world. So we have this like shining light in this dark universe called consciousness. And if we don't protect it, it's not like the animals are going to have it, because that's kind of something that we're trying to piece together, which is this understanding and awareness of your own existence is a phenomenon that only exists in humans. So Elon's trying to get us to not die off. So imagine that you got somebody that's like, oh, this gift of consciousness that we can't lose, let's save it. And somebody else is like, asteroid mining, make buku money. Right? And that's why Elon thinks we're going to kill ourselves off because of people like that. All right, y'all. Happy safe trading. We'll catch you later. Take it easy. Drop a like on the stream if you found this valuable. If you didn't, go get your fucking head checked. You understand? There's something's wrong with you. All right, take it easy, y'all. Happy safe trading. Peace. Members, I'm gonna send you guys the link for the